Hello and welcome to a little tutorial about how to continually add blend shapes to your character's head throughout the course of production. And what we have here is a character that's been rigged, their body's been rigged by Advanced Skeleton, and the head is initially rigged by Advanced Skeleton. It wasn't the more complex way of setting the head up because it had very custom controls, including these eyes that sort of just float along the geometry there of the head. So I hooked it up using a control system that's custom. The head is its own separate object and has not only rigged and weighted bones attached to it, but also a rogues gallery of heads here. And I want to show how to continue to add that in production if you're using references for your character, which is another video, so that you can come up with fixes to more needs for the head shapes. So in this case, we'll say that this character has a need for a smile. So looking over what they have right now, there's a jaw control for the mouth. It can use a little weight painting touch-up, no worries, but also has an existing bunch of blend shapes. Let's take a look at the blend shapes and how they operate on top of the influences for the head. The blend shapes, the ones that are already in here that I placed earlier, will be under in the rigging mode in Maya. Go over here to deform. Go to Windows, and then go down to Animation Editor and then Shape Editor. And you should see all of these influences as sliders here. Under Expressions, I've got two existing expressions. One's called Brow, one's called Purse Lips. So if I were to grab the controller and close it and put this back in the default position, I can actually use the blend shapes as a slider here to see the character purse their lips in kind of a kissing motion, or if you open the jaw on top of that, they could make an O shape or sort of an amazed mouth. The other one is brow, and it's just pulling the brow down, kind of a slight nose crinkle as well. Usually I like to do this on each side of the face separately. I don't like to make universal ones that affect more things, because what happens is in some cases you have a need for a smirk, or you have a need for a single brow raise in suspicion, and that is different from doing it universally on either side of the head. So let's come in here and add the head for a smile. Also, I did a very short tutorial so that you can have your influences sorted out, so when this character moves over, you can see the brows have yet to be rigged. When the character moves over, you can still come in here and slide these expressions, and it does not return the head back to 0, 0, 0. So you have to make sure that all the influences here, right click, go down to inputs, then go down to all inputs. Make sure that your inputs are in the right way. Otherwise, what happens is they get messed up, and suddenly you can have a whole lot of problems with things just being in the wrong order. And when you do a blend shape, watch what happens here. When I slide this down, middle clicking and then dragging it down, it pops the head over. So we're having trouble with that. Just make sure that those are sorted out, that your rigged bones affect your character first and the blend shapes affect it secondly. Let's now make a smile. I've copied the geometry under this group here under blend shape heads and blend shape eyes. And this is the geometry that is the original geometry. You're going to need to always have a default original head. Just copy it and drag it up and immediately rename it so that we can have something called, say, left smile, or if you want to name it so that it's kind of under the genus, species, phylum, you name what it is and then underscore the specificity of the side. So we're going to modify this head here, and I'm going to come in and use something called soft select to just pull the corner of the left side of the character's mouth. And the first thing I want to do is grab a vertex, and double click the selection tool. You have a soft selection come up here under tool settings. Expand that, then select soft select. You can see that there's a fall off influence of the geometry around it according to this the colors of this kind of heat map. A fall off of yellow being central, and then it sort of goes off into a red, meaning it will have a higher degree of affecting the yellow than it does affecting the red. And if I grab several of these vertexes, I can use these to, and you can do this with edges too, to pull up the corners of the mouth. I'm going to slightly turn them, or just rotate them, and then I'm going to translate them. and I've got the smallest smiles here. I don't want to pull it out too much because remember I have separate controls for pulling the mouth out. I can use that pursing to pull it out. And just try to make it pleasant, soft if you can. So we've got a smile on the left side of the face. Good. Smile left. It's as easy as grabbing the new head, then shift selecting the head it's going to, and going to deform. Oh, and by the way, Windows, you're going to want to see the existing blend shapes. As I've said, shape editors right here. Pop this up before you add a head. You want to see it validated by just popping under the existing expressions. The other way of doing this, if you want to, is bring up the old Blendshape editor. This is one I'm used to because I've been dealing with Maya for a very long time. And they've sort of retired this, but it's still in Maya. If you go in and just ask for it by name under the Blendshape editor, you can see there, Camel Case, Blendshape editor. You can grab this and just put it right up here by going to File, Save Script to Shelf, and it will be a permanent button for you. So if you just want to evoke that, you just have it up here in a button, like so. So when you add the new head, you're going to want to see it pop in, not just here or here, whichever of these two panels you prefer, but do have something up to verify that you've done it correctly before you add. So I've got the new head selected, but the last thing I selected, you can see by the green, is the head it's going onto. And the way you want to do this, also a good check to make sure that this works just fine, is I have more than one blend shape in a group here. I've got one for expressions, one for the eye right, one for the eye left, in case the animator wants something where the eyes close or they go into an angry shape, etc. I set them up separately. This allows separate blinks as well instead of simultaneous. And so I want to make sure that this goes on to the correct existing blend shape. So I can click on Create Blend Shape or Add Target. Both would be wrong. And here's, if I'm doing it like that, if I add a target, it'll add it, but oops, went into the eye left, and now this looks odd, and it doesn't even seem to be doing anything. And so I want to right click on it and then just delete it, try again. The way to do this is to select the new head, select where it's going, and under Deform, go to Blend Shape, Add, but go to the options because you're going to want to specify the node. In this case, I want to use expressions. And even though it's got it right here and it looks like it's correct, you actually have to select it so that it pops up here under the blend shape node area. So just having it here is not enough. At this point, you want to hit apply and watch it added here. But most importantly, select, press F, get right up there real close, and just prove that it works by sliding it up. Yes, it does. And not only that, but you can go far beyond this number, 1.5. You can also use the negative of this number, -1, and the character is now frowning. So that's why I don't want to do an expression for everything. I want to give the animator enough that they can sort of mix and match. And that's a way to add a blend shape on top of your existing animated body or head. And you can continue doing that throughout the course of production since this is non-destructive, and every blend shape that you add is appended here on the right and should not affect the existing animation you have on your previous nodes. Again, the widening and the pursing of the lips. There we are. I hope you learned from this, and happy animating.